Good morning, professionals and co-workers or co-laborers in the service of Kenya. First of all, before I make my statement, I want to say that you are all welcome at KNDI, and I want to believe that you are at peace in this beautiful place, right at the center where vegetables are grown and chicken are around. So they form part of the city. And not at any given time we can do away with them, except we can advise them on how best they can take care of the vegetables to make it awesome. So that is why we moved from the city center, where there is noise, to come from Lolongo, where there is peace. And this peace will create a center of peace for nutrition and dietetics and agriculture. And that is why we are here. And I want to say that it's a symbol to represent the domain of the nature of multi-sectoral aspect of nutrition. And I've always said nutrition is not just a pure health event, let me call it event, or not project, but it's also a multi-sectoral event cutting across many disciplines, including agriculture, health, and not forgetting food industry. And so most of us have been here listening to us accrediting food products that have nutrition claims is because we want to make sure that the humans are protected by giving them healthy food beyond the diamond mark of quality. So I want to get to thank God that I am the first to give a welcome remark and also a technical remark. And I want to say that I've just come from Mombasa yesterday, where the State Department for Public Health and Regulation is developing its current strategic plan. And we are part of that process. And it is coming out very well because people have never thought of agriculture to be a public health matter. We have always seen agriculture as a food matter and safety matter. But we forgot about the health. The value chain of food from fork to table is very critical in human health. And so just before I left, I said I must leave a strategic direction for nutrition-sensitive agriculture, in addition to the usual maternal and child health focus. And we have to be very, very prompt with that. So I want to read my statement. And this is a situational analysis of nutrition and dietetics in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen and the professionals, you cannot go wrong with nutrition. If you invest more in nutrition, then you can save more for the country. And those who are in service delivery says that we lose 374 billion Kenyan shillings per year because of malnutrition. And so malnutrition is the core focus. But there are so many things around malnutrition. The Kenya Health Sector Strategy Investment Plan 2018 to 2023, which is ending this year, the midterm review indicated that very two critical indicators for nutrition was stunting and wasting. I was asking, where are the other parameters of nutrition? That is critical. But the good thing is that from the current KDHS 2022, stunting has considerably reduced from 26 to 17.6%. That is a plus. However, the question we'll be asking, is it real? How much have we covered with the sample size to determine whether stunting is truly 17.6? But we want to believe the demographic survey because that is the best statistics we can have in the country. We have also seen this time round obesity decreasing from 4% to 3% among children. This is also an indicator for good things in nutrition. But we also have challenges. Interventions in nutrition purely depend on the partner and donor funding. And so the government is not putting a lot to help the sector, except only when they're supported by partners. Partners are good, and they support the nutrition action plans, both at national and county level. But the government also needs to wake up and come up with ways to input in nutrition. 2 weeks ago, when we were before Parliamentary Committee on Health, we indicated that nutrition is underfunded. But it's a core business in the health sector when it comes to primary health care, which is also the agenda for the current government, the bottoms-up approach. The PCA, the primary health care, is the greatest investment that we can have because in the long run, we save a lot in curative. Now we have some emerging issues that we need to focus on. Wasting increased from 4 to 5%. We didn't see that highlighted, but it's a challenge. Wasting is a measure of undernutrition. Stunting is a measure of chronic malnutrition. But we can also not forget the acute hunger, which is underweight. That is weight for age, which is never reported. But when you miss a diet today and tomorrow and 3 days, then you get into acute hunger. The Sakahola business is basically death by acute hunger. We will call it starvation, but it's just denying someone food when they can do fasting appropriately. Does it bother anyone? That's a question we need to answer. We have looked at the indicators for health sector, for nutrition, and what we have seen is maternal and child health nutrition as the only focus for many partners, over 70% of them. We have forgotten that we have mental health related nutrition. Who manages those who have mild mental health like you and I? We think it is not there. But when you're moody in the morning, probably you lack dopamine. And that is a nutrition, protein-based, nutrient or chemical that is useful. Has anyone ever thought about the autistic children being treated in hospitals and how to manage them with nutrition and food for that matter? The eating culture has changed. We are talking about fast food. In as much as slow food tries to stop us from that speed, we still have mushrooming fast foods. Those are challenges that the nutrition sector must look into. But we have seen the KDHS come up with new indicators, like diet diversity, for example, is now coming in, and we see the status at the moment, but it's still not good enough. We are talking about the sugar-sweetened beverages for children, vis-a-vis obesity. Who is looking at that? Is it only Malezi Bora? Or can we go further than that? Now, who thought about agriculture as key to nutrition? The government of Kenya was not, through parliament, was not out of focus or out of order to establish the Nutritionists and Dietitians Act, Cap 253B, in a manner in which it was done. The idea was to make it a sector-wide regulation rather than a health sector-specific regulation. Nutrition is in agriculture, and we have nutritionists engaged and employed in agriculture sector. nutrition is in health, and nutrition is in trade. But the focus of nutrition has been health sector and health sector alone. Is that how we would go as Kenyans? Is a question we need to answer. The matters of low birth weight is becoming more of a medical indicator, but the pure results from science is that low birth weight is a nutrition indicator. So then it is misplaced, and we only look at how many children were born premature, and how many of them were born overweight, how many of them were born normal. But we never think about what is around those children being born when they're underweight. That is a question we need to learn from. And some of the lessons that have been learned in the past few weeks after the KDHS is that some key areas have been left out. Geriatric nutrition, nutrition for the elderly, who has focused on it? Adolescent nutrition, I know it's coming up, but who does know what adolescent nutrition is? Is it about adolescent mother, and you're focusing on ready-to-use therapeutic feeds and teaching them a balanced diet or diversified diet or food groupings? Or could we go further to look at the reproductive health and nutrition? What about the availability of food at household level and where they're coming from? No one has focused on that. Nutrition and dietetics education for school children. Who teaches our children how to eat in schools? We know that there's school health policy, but is it properly implemented? Who is implementing it? Are we having enough nutritionists to do that? Are we having proper direction at county and national level to ensure that a child that is graduating from a tertiary college or university or coming from a primary school understand where food comes from? Does food come from the air? We know that in technology, but not in Kenya. Do we plant food at home? Do we know how to plant tomato? When we are at home, can we plant vegetables? Can we grow rabbits? Who is teaching us where to go? Is this industrial focus so that we can import rabbit, or we import BT maize, or we grow BT maize as genetically modified? Where did we lose on our traditional foods? The colored maize, green and red. Where did we lose them? Where did we lose the ugali from Busia, Samia County, the cassava, soft finger millet combined? We are running to the supermarkets, and it's now expensive, the white maize. Where did we lose the potatoes, the ngwashes? Has anyone ever thought about this as the foundation for health? Or do we look at who has come to the facility to be serviced? So, the nutrition-sensitive agriculture is a lost virtue from primary school to university. When I was in the university, in primary school, the 4K club was very, very critical. And all of us joined and came up with how we could plant our own. We tried our maize, we tried our potatoes, we tried also vegetables. But it is a lost virtue. You cannot tell a child to plant, and they plant, because they know they will get food anyway, but that food is in the market. So with this strategic issue, 3 areas are of concern for us as KNDI. We want to change the professional focus to stop thinking about level 1 or grade 1 to 6 hospitals, or level 1 to 6 hospitals, to the community-based approach as intervention. The level 1s and below that can teach our mothers and children to eat healthy by focusing on agriculture as being sensitive to nutrition. The opposite is the same. And because of that, strengthening nutrition and dietetic services in primary health care with focus on nutrition-sensitive agriculture, which has been ignored in the health sector, is important. We congratulate FAO for that area. We congratulate Ministry of Agriculture for that area. But have we done more? Have we done enough that we need to do from a multi-sectoral perspective? When we come up with a nutrition action plan and every key player sign in, do they also equally input with resources for the same? Upscaling multi-sectoral engagement in resource mobilization through partnership and intergovernmental collaboration on funding of key interventions is important. The Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Trade, all these ministries must invest in nutrition. They should not wait for the donor to bring. Thank God the donor will bring money, no problem. We will take the money, but we must also invest. Blessed is the man that when he comes shall be found so doing. Because he gave us the responsibility to occupy until he comes. Do we use our own generated resources to start the process and call key players to be part of it also? So then we have to strengthen also human resource. If we have 10,000 nutritionists in the country and only 2,000 are in the service delivery, what are we telling parents and Kenyans who have trained our good professionals to deliver services and nobody is thinking about them? The focus was on medical doctors and nurses. And if you go further, maybe clinical officers, but their focus is on curative. But if you had nutritionists targeting household, then probably you would prevent the preventable disease conditions from reaching and also overburdening our health facilities. Does somebody advise properly on this area? The answer is no. We started with the training. We are now out in service. And we want to see
recording in progress.
Nutrition is recognized by every little Kenyan and also the policymakers and politicians. When we start with the politicians, they discovered that they have never heard anything about nutrition. But they got the understanding that nutrition is critical. We know from the Global Nutrition Report 2022 that imbalances in food systems are major drivers of dietary and nutritional inequities. And they can restrict across the diets and promote low-quality diets. There's need for food system to become a core in government agenda. Already, the Institute's management is negotiating with Tom Mboya University College in their constituency. They have a big piece of land there. And the member of parliament from Ndewa is ready to give that land, where we'll start a capacity building and nutrition center for nutrition-sensitive agriculture. We know we have a research center in Pwani University again, which is beginning soon. Are you called to be part of it? We want to welcome all the key players in nutrition to rethink and move away from politics and begin to think, can nutrition be a solution to this country? Does the current CS understand nutrition and the PS, including PS agriculture? Do they understand it from the lens of health and food and soil? How can we repackage nutrition to give it holistic nature as we move towards One Health? Thank you very much. I hope this gives you the background for the discussion for today. Thank you very much.